Hello, YouTube. Welcome everybody in for another episode of the solo group Hardcore Iron Man series. This is another addition to the four-man group here that I have been sort of running completely solo. So that is, I am playing all four accounts. And yeah, let's dive right into it. So, if you have been, following along in some of the previous episodes here, um, I have been just attempting to reach my goal of 95 ringcraft here. And we are finally honing in on it. It has been a long time coming. I have been doing the ZMI, or sorry, not the ZMI. This is the Zaya runecrafting method, where you chisel down the dense essence blocks and whatnot, and that's kind of what you use to runecraft as essence. For a very long time now, I've been working on it, and we are finally closing in on that goal of 95, because at 95 we unlock the ability to craft wrath runes, and wrath runes are going to be a fundamental part of all four of the accounts. I will be sharing those wrath runes that are crafted, and all four of them can use it, even though only one account has Dragon Slayer 2 done. That is all that I need. So if you're wondering about, how many lives the group has, here I can display it on screen up on the rune crafting one, and there it is, 1 out of 4 lives. So we're still hardcore, still kicking, and if you look at the high scores, you can easily find my group on the top 5. I believe I'm either 5th or 4th or 3rd. I can't remember at this point. There's another couple groups that bounce around and play, but one of the groups on that high scores is actually the Farmers V1, but they are crossed off, as some of you may know that their group has perished. They lost all 4 of their lives, and they no longer progress on the high scores. But because they're such gamers and they just can grind, and I know like Curtis had some really high skill total level there, and they achieved a pretty high seat on the high scores there, and I think they're either still 3rd or maybe they've been passed now, but they're 4th. But regardless, I will be hoping to pass them up inevitably, and continue competing towards that number 1 spot. So right now I'm just doing some AFK side scaling, cutting mahoganies for construction, as well as just training woodcut. I actually did a ton of magic logs and mahoganies on this account. He's up to 85 woodcutting, so I am slowly honing in on 80. I think I'm going to do a ton of mahoganies to sort of get there, as well as mixing in magics if I need some more AFK, but pretty much the goal would be 90, and at 90 I can literally post up at top. See, those are my loud notifications for just a bird howl or a bird nest spawning. I wish I could just turn that off for the bird nests, but I'd have to go into my Runelight settings. Anyway, if I could just post up on the redwood, then that would be an excellent source of woodcutting XP. I can fletch them into arrow shafts, which is one of the best ways to train fletching, because you put feathers on those shafts, and then you can fletch broad arrows, which with broad arrow heads that you buy from packs from the Slayer Masters. So that's an excellent way to get fletching. I've recently had to get fletching up on a couple accounts. To see down here at the account standing on the Zora boat, there is 82 fletching, 82 thieving. That's one of the biggest things I've been working on as of late. Those 2 skills are needed to be boosted to 85 to get the Elite Diary of the Western Provinces. So there I have it. There it is, all green down here for you. Bottom left there, Western Area Tasks, Hard and Elite completed. And here it says, the Elite Diary reward can revive me in Zora's lair today. That was the big mission, was to, since This account has over 93 Slayer, which is one of the requirements. You have to kill the thermonuclear Smoke Devil, which is the Smoke Devil Slayer boss. It's a pretty simple boss. It's just you need 93 Slayer to do so. And I was able to get that done, complete the diary, and now I have the free daily revive at Zulrah, which means no matter what happens, even if I disconnect, I am safe at Zulrah, so long as I do not continue to do Zulrah past the diary revive proccing or going off. Because if I do it after the diary procs the revive, then I will obviously be risking my account. So currently I am just doing some Zulrah. That's another huge feat to take up here. Just doing some rune crossbow. Got a Fury for my range switch, and then in the occult trident with Arams. I managed to get, and I believe it's not going to show this. Maybe if I just do that, there we go. If I show this, boom, 2 Serpentine Visages in around 100 KC, which was massive because, one, you need your first one for any Iron Man account because it allows you to just wear it and resist all of the venom and poison damage that incomes during Zulrah. Speaking of which, we'll probably just get into one of the kills here, but figured I'd go over some catch-up details. I haven't uploaded in a few weeks because about 3 or 4 weeks ago from my last upload, I had another video recorded. It was actually a nice little podcast with a friend of mine, and we talked about the game and history of our playtime and whatnot. And I ended up having my, and this was a pretty low memory solid state drive. It completely fried out on me on my last computer, so I actually lost all of my data on my previous computer, which was including that recording. So and then I didn't have a PC to make a new recording or whatever properly, so I held off, and I finally got in a full custom build ordered. The other unfortunate reason, which is why this took even longer for me to recoup from this my PC frying on me, was the fact that I ordered a pre-built because I was just kind of being lazy. I was like, you know what, a custom build would be the smart idea to pick each component of your PC, build it, build it yourself, know what's in it. Don't do a full budget build where they just get the minimum possible specs for it and then throw it all together. I wanted to do a custom build, but in learning all the parts and stuff, I was just like, you know what, I don't exactly know what the best thing is to get for each part. So I just went with a custom build again, which was what I did last time, and got it in the mail a few days later. I opened it up, I fired it up, and with opening just a couple applications like RuneLight and YouTube and a Twitch stream, everything would just randomly delete itself. Everything would randomly crash, just close out entirely, or the YouTubes would, or like the Chrome window would just straight up give me that aw snap error with that, rectangle, like squiggly, frowny face guy. He's just like with his tongue out. He's like, something went wrong. And you'd have to reload the page, but that obviously was no good, right? Something was corrupt there. I believe it was like a memory allocation problem is what I tried to diagnose and narrow it down to. But regardless, the thing just blue screening on me and completely shutting down and closing applications. So couldn't use the PC. Brand new, just ordered it, and they sent me, and it was dead on arrival. So I had to return that, and what I did when I returned it, I just walked through with a couple of Best Buy employees there. They were very friendly, and they helped me figure out all of the little details that I was missing to be able to just make my full custom build. And I bought each individual piece myself, and I have the Best Buy premium membership, which they said that they will do all of the building for me. I just needed to pick out parts and stuff. So I ended up paying almost the same price for basically a top of the line PC, maybe a little bit over because I had to buy like one or two extra pieces that were a little bit more expensive, but in the end it's going to be so worth it because I won't be buying another little budget pre-build that's, lacking in some departments. I know exactly what's in it and it's all good to go and last for a long time, and that's what they made sure that I had that down, that it was something I wanted to build that's going to last me some years, not just die out on me after just a couple. So yeah, I got the new PC. It is still coming in. I'm currently using my old one with a replaced solid state drive that crashed. However, it is still a little sluggish and slow, and that's kind of the reason I needed an upgrade anyway. So whenever I get that in, that'll be awesome to finally have just no lag, no stuttering, and just have way better components with a better graphics card and whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of why there hasn't been any uploads for a while. I don't mean for anything to be making excuses, but I literally just didn't have a PC, and the time I put into recording a video just completely lost that footage because it was saved to that hard drive. So unfortunate, but what can you do? So yeah, like I said, I've been doing Zulrah. I got my Cert Visi, and I got a second one actually. So I switched from the Elite Void. I was using the Elite Void setup with the Void ranged and Mage helm switches, and my switch was only a 4-way with the weapon, amulet, cape slot, and the helmet. But now I'm doing the full Mage gear switch out with Bear's gloves, Arams, etc. So I figured I'd just make it a 6-way switch, and it's been working out pretty well. So yeah, we might just dive into a Zulrah kill here. Try to, maybe show you some of the method here that I use to do Zulrah. If anyone's interested in maybe even just learning some tactics here. So let's jump right in. I always use mage pots and range pots if available. Gonna summon the thrall and just start going to town. You obviously want auto retaliate off. And for the first part, you want to, let's see if I can make this a little bit larger actually. Oh, that's not gonna work. We'll just do that. So yeah, you just pray, range for this light green phase, and then you pray mage against the blue phase. However, the blue phase can still range you randomly, but it is more likely that he will use the mage attack. So you definitely want to pray mage on the dark blue phase. That's the Tanzanite color. And then the red one is the melee Zulrah. So technically you don't have to pray anything because you can just dodge his attacks. In fact, I don't think you can pray melee. Even if you did, you would still take a lot of damage. So, and yeah, I summon thralls and I go to town with rune crossbow. I made about 4,000 ruby bolts E, as well as I made about 4,000 diamond bolts E with the Addy bolts, and I'm currently still using most of them. So that was a nice upgrade. I was using broad bolts for a couple kills, and I just realized, hey, if I'm gonna be here a while, I might as well invest into some better bolts because they are way better with the procs. Just throw out some extra DPS rather than just having plain old broad bolts that do nothing but the base hit. And yeah, pretty much have to just walk around this little U-shaped arena and do what you can to take out him in all of his various locations because he hops around a bunch. Got to make sure you're wearing a ring of recoil because these little snakes will hit you for around 10 damage, and when they do, if you're wearing a recoil, they will instantly be killed off from that one recoil damage. They only have 1 health, so that's kind of the way Jagex, I guess, designed the fight. Hey, might as well pick up the kebab. is that they kind of made it so that you have to recoil those little snakelings because it just takes way too much time to try and like do something like throw darts at them or whatever. So yeah, at the very start, you want to go to the top right corner. He's going to throw acid on the entire battlefield except for this location. You got a blue phase popping up here, so you got to switch to the range gear, pray mage, and he's going to start pummeling me. Now, there it is. His attacks incoming, that the red fireball is the mage one. That's the one that I will be reducing with prayer. However, he does throw that little bullet-esque looking dark green bead, and that is the range attack. So, because you have to pray magic for the fireball, potentially, you have to just tank it whenever he does a random ranged attack. And that's why that phase is particularly scary, because there's no way to avoid if he just decides to throw out like 5 ranged attacks in a row, and he very well can. And he can hit up to 41s with every single one, and it's unlikely, but it definitely does happen. So you have to be prepared for that. So yeah, I keep using magic pots whenever I need a little +4 boost. I know it doesn't sound like +4 mage is a lot, but it actually raises the max hit of the trident slightly, as well as give you a little bit more accuracy. So it is definitely worth it, because I just have hundreds, if not thousands, of magic pots just kind of laying around, being sort of wasted, or I mean, not being used otherwise. So yeah, what I have here, since I'm on the Arceus spellbook, I need house tabs, which I made a bunch of. I go to my house here. This is actually a different account's house. That is why I'm on the same world here. I'm all in the same world, so I can use the same house, because that's how the group Iron Man housing works, is you have to be on the same world to enter their house. And if you are on the same world, though, it's nice because you can actually just teleport straight in to your group member's house. So I've started using Zulrah teleport scrolls. So when I first started doing the KC, I was just using the fairy ring method, which is a very, very fine method. It's not very far away from the fairy ring. You need 76 agility to hop across, so I would say that is an absolute necessity to have. However, because I've gotten about 50 teleport scrolls so far, I figured, well, I can start using these to just get there a little bit faster, start the kill a little bit quicker after I bank, rather than having to run all the way to the fairy ring and then hop the stone and run all the way back over. So yeah, hopefully we can get what I'm actually here for, which is the Magic Fang upgrade. And the reason all of this spur came upon me is because I was doing a Kraken task, and I was like, you know what? I'm just sitting here killing Kraken with a normal trident. This is terrible. Like, I'm gonna just go do Zulrah. I looked at my account. I'm like, I can easily do this. I have the Slayer rec on this account. The other accounts are not 93 Slayer, so this is the highest Slayer account. He was also 99 HP, very high mage level from all the bursting and barraging that I've been doing during Slayer tasks. And besides that, just also the highest combat in general with, HP and range as well. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go try some Zulrah kills with the diary done, and here we are. Got a lucky Cert Vizzy. That was really nice to see. You can instantly then upgrade from your Void setup to wearing a Serp Helm, which prevents you from being venomed in its entirety. What I was using before that was you'd have to use anti-poisons of any sort to remove venom from your character. Or what you have to do is you have to reduce it to poison and then after it's been reduced to poison, you can then remove that poison with another sip of anti-poison. So it takes a while to actually take it off fully, and you still end up taking a bunch of 6s and 8s and then 10s, depending on how long and how much anti-poison you want to consume. So it's not the best method because you have to have at least 1 or 2 spaces in your inventory to be committed for anti-poisons, which means they're not being used for food and other supplies. And you usually can only get about 1 kill a trip. I've been able to pull about 2 kills a trip on average here. Depends, how lucky the kill goes and whatnot. But if I can squeeze in a second kill, I definitely try to stay there, because if you can get a second kill in per trip, then you end up getting enough teleport scrolls back from the KC you're getting here to kind of offset the one that you use to teleport back, because he drops about 4 of those scrolls at a time. And with those 4 scroll drops each time, if you can get about 2 KC per trip, then you end up kind of getting enough to feel the whole fact that you're using them up to get back quite often. So yeah, the trips have been going well. I really can't wait for that bright purple or burnt orange color, which is the valuable loot from Moonlight, showing the loot beam and whatnot. And I absolutely love that fact of the game, how like you get a nice rare drop and that golden or purple loot beam just shines on the ground of an item that is expensive. It's just sitting there waiting to be picked up. It's a very enjoyable feeling. That's kind of why, we play Iron Man, because getting a Tanzanite Fang or a Magic Fang or a Cert Vizzy on my account just says like, hey, this is your item. Like, you earned this. You slayed the monster that drops it, and it's yours now. So you pick it up and then immediately begin putting it into effect, which is what I am doing here. I got the Cert helm here, fully charged, going to work here, and that's the great part of this game's. We like the Iron Man mode because of this sole fact. But yeah, you basically just have to watch out, especially without a Ring of Suffering here. You have to watch for whenever your recoil ends up running out of charges, because if it does, then those snakelings, instead of being killed off, they end up just staying alive and hitting you constant like 15s. So there it is, the Zulrah scroll teleports. You get about 4 in a single loot. So I am able to just, I went down to about 39, and now I'm back up to 43. So I kind of get them back as much as I use them, which hopefully I can just use them almost infinitely for the remainder of my Zulrah killing. But I know at one point, because I'm only getting like 1 kill a trip, until I get the Magic Fang, I think that's the real turning point, is when you get the Magic Fang upgrade on the Trident. It's going to give me a massive amount of max hits and upgrade my mage weaponry to where I can do enough DPS to where I don't use as much food, recoil charges, prayer, etc. And then with all of that being said, you end up being able to get about 2 kills a trip instead of like the 1 kill trips. So yeah, it is obviously preferred to get that item upgrade as well as a blowpipe. I think if I had a blowpipe, I might just use that as my main hand as well. But at the same time, I don't know if I will main hand it here, because he has a reasonable amount of defense. So I might just bring it to pop off 2 specs every now and then. I have nothing to spec with now, so if I could just bring that and pop 2 specs off, that would be kind of cool, because you could heal potentially like 30 HP if you hit pretty high. On the blue phase, you're pretty likely to hit pretty well because he's weaker to range. So yeah, I mean, honestly, Any of those drops would be great. Gotta not forget to range pod again. Without preserve, that stuff kind of wears down pretty quick. All my boosts, so I'm constantly mage potting and I'm constantly range potting. And yeah, just send in the Zulrah. So with the diary, this is a completely safe event here, and that's one of the main appeals here is hardcores like to go for that elite diary. You get 93 Slayer, which gives you access to getting the occult drop, which is an extremely valuable item in general. And once you have occult, your trident kind of slaps. And you can do that diary step in the Western Elite that allows you to get the free revive every day here, which makes Zulrah on a hardcore pretty darn safe. And you can do tactics like this pillar stalling here where I kind of hide behind the pillar in between my crossbow attacks since he attacks much faster than me. If I hide behind a pillar in between my crossbow bolts, I end up trading one bolt to his one attack rather than him just attacking about twice as fast as me. So Zulrah attacks every 3 ticks, and a crossbow on rapid is 5 ticks. So that's quite a bit slower, almost half as slow. And even just my trident is about a 4-tick weapon, so you could still do it for even just the trident because Zulrah attacks very, very quickly. So it's one of the many tactics you can pull off here just to kind of it's not really increasing your damage per second, but it's increasing your damage compared to the damage he's doing to you throughout the fight. So you're just kind of prolonging the fight, being able to do more crossbow hits in the same amount of Zulrah attacking me. Otherwise, he could just pummel you with like 40, 40, 30 with the Tanzanite phase where he can randomly ranged attack you, where you're kind of forced to pray mage because it's more likely. For anyone wondering what the chances, he has a 60% in this blue phase right here. He has a 60% chance to just mage you, which is why you're more better off just praying mage, because 3 out of 5 times he will just use the mage attack, the fireball in the air. Otherwise, he has a 40% chance to throw his ranged projectile out at you, which is the thing you're not able to pray against. So here's another huge pillar stall, and in between these crossbow bolts I'm going to duck back, and that's why I kind of have these tiles marked here. Is I can click this tile, which is kind of in the water here, and it pulls me back far enough out of his attack sight range, not out of his line of sight essentially, and that's how I can pull off the stall effect, and the fact that I kind of hide from him in between his attacks and then can get off one crossbow bolt to every one Zulrah attack that hits me. So I can get 5 attacks to his 5, and I can do it here by switching to long range. I should just camp long range the whole time anyway, but I know that putting it on accurate here gives you a slightly higher chance to hit, so. And then as another stall here, I can always just duck back and forth. At this point, I have these spots kind of memorized and know how to pull it off here, but pretty much, you just use these 2 pillars on the corners here to hide from his line of sight. And it all comes with practice, right? Just knowing the phases, knowing where he's going to pop up next. This is one of the Jad phases. Usually you don't make it this far if you have higher DPS. With the Magic Fang upgrade to my Trident, I don't think I would be getting this far into each kill, but hey, it looks like we have quite a bit of food left, so we'll try for a second kill this trip. That's where I start digging into the prayer pot that I brought. I usually use about 1 dose, but I'll use pretty much the whole thing whenever I go for this second kill in the trip. Yeah, let's see how it goes. So summon the thrall. I try to summon the thrall as fast as I can so that it's on the south side of the U shape. So here's the U shape. I'm facing north as up. You want to summon the thrall down south because thralls actually have like a line of sight as well. So if I put him in the south side, he has the shortest distance to get to any Zora pop up wherever possible. So then at the start, you always come to this top right corner and you kind of do the same little shenanigans. Oops, see, there was a ranged 40 that he hit, and that's always going to be off prayer because you have to pray mage on that phase. So you got to be prepared to combo eat. You got to be prepared to just always stay high health at all times. And here after this thrall does another attack. Summon another one here. Make sure my recoil is good. And just click the recoil periodically throughout the fight, which kind of just makes sure that, well, if I needed to equip it, then it would equip. If I didn't need to, oh, I'm getting caught with my pants down here. I forgot where he was going to spawn next. That's alright. Still doing alright here. I believe this phase he doesn't actually attack you, so can turn off overhead prayer, just obviously keeping on Mystic Might and Eagle Eye wherever possible. You tend to my other accounts because this is kind of a little AFK session here. And then go back to the range phase. We're going to be doing some stalling here, so you got to get off your bolt first and then immediately run back. So you have to do the full switch, and oof, that's a big hit. And I had to eat there. You can actually tick eat him in this phase by pillar stalling, because when you dip away from him, the projectile is in the air there, so you can actually tick eat as you run back and then hide. The incoming attack will be capped to your current HP, and there we go. We're able to get the second kill. There it is. Teleports. So I was down to 39, went up to 43 with one, used two down to 41, and then got another one, so I'm up to 45. So I'm actually going upwards in teleport scroll total here because we're able to pull off these 2 kill trips, which just sort of amplifies the usage there of having to use a teleport every time to get back. I try to bring an angler-ish every single time. 1 or 2 anglers is ideal. I'm kind of running low there, so I need to make sure I go fish some on these other accounts. Currently I'm doing Karambon, so I might switch one of these other guys to fishing anglers because that would be nice to just have a way to restock. However, I'm pretty sure I have some in the group storage here. Let's see, what do we got for anglers? Maybe I do not, so I might need to go fish them. Or cook them, rather. Yeah, it looks like we're out of the anglers. But yeah, the rune crafting, closing in on 95, about 200k XP away or less. And then once I get 95, I will probably have to pause doing Zora because I have to craft Wrath runes manually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do some like AFK Chill Slayer while I have to craft a stockpile of Wrath runes so that all 4 of the accounts can use them for Slayer. It will allow me to cast the Ash and Bone conversion spell, which allows me to make massive utilization of the like the ash drops you get from Slayer. Things like Abyssal Ashes and Malicious Ashes from some of the higher level demon monsters. You can convert them into a ton of prayer XP, similar to like Bones on a Gilded Altar, if you have that spell with Wrath runes unlocked. And it actually uses soul runes as well, so I think it's like a couple Wrath runes and then soul runes, so maybe like 1 soul rune a cast. So you do need some souls, So I figured I would craft from 94 to 95. I would do soul runes instead of just straight bloods because it's a little bit better XP, the souls. However, I didn't particularly like to go do them because it's a more difficult run. To get to the soul altar requires that you kind of keep clicking in a straight line for a little while, and then whereas the blood altar you can reach it with literally one click from the altar where you convert the dense essence blocks into the dark essence blocks to where they can be chiseled down and runecrafted. So it's like a one click. I think I explained that in a previous video. If you're interested, check out my other videos for that detail. But I even showed like kind of how the map kind of horseshoes around. And it's a little bit more AFK to do bloods because it's a lot less running back and forth. You just do one click and you're halfway there, and then another click, and then you're the rest of the way there. Whereas souls, you have to constantly keep clicking to the edge of the map, like 4, 5, 6, 7 times, or however many times to get there, and then the return trip as well. You have to do it, so it's like 20 different movements across the map, as opposed to only like 2 for bloods. And then bloods have a little agility shortcut that takes you right back to where you start mining the essence again. So yeah, always pillar stalling here whenever possible. And I've even got it down to a science where I kind of even know exactly how many times I need to pillar stall. For example, Zulrah attacks me 5 times there. So I can pillar stall up to 5 times. After that, there's no reason to keep pillar stalling. And when he next sinks down into the water, I want to get off a trident attack right before he sinks back down. And sometimes you can stop pillar stalling a little bit shy of the maximum amount of pillar stalls that would be possible in any given location because of the fact that when your last trident attack lines up with right before he sinks under, you might get that extra attack off even though you didn't pillar stall the whole way 1-to-1. So here's another excellent time to do it because this phase hurts. So this is, oh, that could have probably KO'd me or close to it. I think this little snakeling is kind of noodled there. Just gotta watch. I'm prepared to tick eat here whenever possible because right there he can definitely slap you. And here's a Jad phase. So it starts with ranged on this side. So you go ranged and then mage, and then I trying to conserve prayer here, so I'm just gonna put on the prayer for the overhead use. And yeah, if I did mess up and I take lethal damage there, then my diary just procs. It revives me to full HP, so I don't actually lose one of my hardcore lives doing this method with the diary. So I'm able to sort of pull off these risky maneuvers and get these 2-kill trips. See there, it was a 2-kill trip because it says I got 146 Zora scales and there's 310 in my inventory. So I must have gotten about 150 or something in the previous kill. So that was a 2-kill trip, as well as you just know there's 4 loot in my inventory instead of the normal 2 that he drops. So yeah, we're gonna be re-upping on the anglers. We're gonna be just continuously see my mentality is to run to the fairy ring after I bank at edge, but I banked my Draymond staff and I'm using these now, which puts me here. Otherwise the fairy ring is just to the left here, but this obviously brings you a lot closer, so it's much faster to use these. However, they are not unlimited, so you have to be sparing with them. And what I do is I stock up a good bit, so I use the fairy ring for about 70 or 80 kills, and I got about 50 teleports. And then once I saw, oh, I have 50 teleports, I'll start using them instead of the Draymond staff because it's just a little bit faster. So love to see that nice ruby proc of hitting a 50 on a fresh Zulrah. because it really stinks to get a ruby bolt proc whenever he's like really low. It actually limits your damage rather than helping you because it always does a percent of his remaining health, and when he's super low, that means, well, instead of hitting potentially like a 30, it kind of caps it at like, a 5 or a 1. If he was like 10 HP, it'll only hit like a 1, and that's rather unfortunate, but nothing you can really do about that. You have to just kind of still use the bolts, because I'm not going to bring a bolt switch. I could, but that would just be a lot of work to constantly manage between bolts, like use rubies at the start. If I switch to diamonds, I'll just use diamonds the whole way, because they're still really good DPS, even from full HP from him. I don't need to use ruby bolts at all, realistically. And one downside of the rubies is that it does damage me for 10% of my health, so it's not ideal to take like these little like 9s and 8s when I'm full HP. I take some extra damage. That's half a food, and if it procs a couple more times, right? You're eating into your Karambwan, but I'll happily take the big 50 and 45s and whatever it hits because that's just really good DPS. So at some point I want to downgrade to Ruby or the Diamond Boltsy. I shouldn't say downgrade. It's actually, um, I would say it's an upgrade in DPS because the procs aren't limited to his health. So when he's low HP, it doesn't like force it to noodle and hit like a 2. And it won't be damaging me back, so it'll help on the war of attrition there with the food supplies. And in general, they hit really well because it gives you a higher max hit as well on the proc. So I want to switch to the Diamond bolts at some point. My thought process was that with my current range level, as I level ranged, I will just hit harder naturally with the base bolt. Uh, just potentially hitting higher. So I wanted to do that at a higher range level and use the diamonds for the higher range levels because the damage amp and the proc effect does not matter like what your doesn't matter at all what your range level is. For the rubies, I'm sorry, the rubies doesn't really matter what your range level is because it's going to do a percent of his health no matter if you're 70 range or 99. Whereas the diamonds, it amplifies your actual hit. So the higher you hit, I guess the better diamonds are because diamonds, when they proc, they pierce the monster's defense indefinitely. So whenever they do that, it's just between 0 to your max hit, whatever you end up hitting. So higher max hit, better damage output. So that was at least the thought process there. Whether or not it's gonna matter, really, it's not a big deal. It's gonna take me a long time to level up range at 92 here, 300 and some K, and I've pretty much been that far away since I kind of started. So not really getting range levels here, just because you only do so much damage to the boss. It's more just like a long war of attrition rather than just a straight up DPS sort of war. I'm not like slapping to straight max hits. You hit a lot of zeros because he has a lot of defense. So, and 4 prayer points, gonna try to conserve that one remaining dose. If I needed it, I would drink it, but he was basically dead. So there it is, another 2-kill trip. Lovely. Get a ton of supplies, and within these drops could be more teleport scrolls to where I can keep doing this method where hit my rejuvenation pool. I was able to get that up, I think, in one of the last episodes. Did Mahogany Homes on another account and got all of that squared away. So yeah, I like to bank all those low dose potions, pull out a full new 4 dose in terms of the ranged magic and prayer pots, and then make sure you have a spare ring of recoil, because if I were to do a 2-kill trip, you definitely need more than just one, even if it's at max charges. Doing 2 kills in a single trip would definitely use more than 40 charges, and they only have about 40 each. So, plus this one could be low. So, yeah, I see you try to break it, and it tells you it said it had 29. So the one I'm wearing has 29 recoil charges left, and this is a full 40. So when that 29 breaks, if I were to do a second kill, I have a fresh new one that I equip. So yeah, that's kind of, the Zulrah. That's what I've been up to lately. Got lucky on the Cert Vizzy, so I actually have a duplicate one too. I got 2 of them. Showed the drop log there earlier. So that's nice that I can, I can do stuff like Hespori and whatever raids with them and not have to worry about transferring them over. 'Cause it's kind of annoying. You have to uncharge them to transfer them around accounts. They're not tradable when you have scales in them, so I'd have to remove the scales just to put them in the group storage. So it's nice to have duplicates of those, as well as for God Wars. So Bandos is another huge one. Bandos, it's very, very important to have um, the high defense as well as 5 strength bonus. So that's going to be huge. And then another thing I just kind of thought of right now is Krill. I think I was going to have all 5 or all 4 accounts be on task for Zammy. But now that I'm thinking about it, even if I go on task, I could probably still get a task, but I won't use the Slayer helmet on my main tank because he's the one that's going to get poisoned. Normally you'd have to take antidotes and, the antidote plus pluses and potentially Sanfew serums, which combo as a super restore dose with the anti effect. I thought I was going to have to, be using that, but it looks like I can just rock the Serp Helm, which will permanently keep my main tank there from being poisoned. So that's going to be really nice. Should hopefully extend my Zammy and God Wars trips there, just having this upgrade, as well as, I want to get my Trident upgrades for Kraken tasks and whatever else I do with the Trident across the account, and Blowpipe's obviously insane. So Blowpipe's really nice for stuff like pulling aggro at Dust Devils and Necreals. The longer range really does help. But yeah, kind of gonna wrap things up here on the video. Let's can do another kill this trip. Got plenty of food. That's one of the key factors here is like when your food supply, you barely ate enough to pick up the loot. That's kind of how you know you could probably get another kill in the trip because you still have most of the food you brought. And if you look at the rune crafter, this is why I don't like the souls as much, because I have to run all the way to this altar, whereas the blood altar is like 1 or 2 clicks. Even though it's still a far run to the blood altar, I can just click on the mini map around a large amount of terrain, and your character just kind of automatically runs there over time instead of having to constantly click. So when playing alts, the soul altar is definitely less ideal. It's a little bit more chill to just do bloods, but I do need the soul runes. I'm up to 34-ish thousand here, 33,000. And I do have some others from, PVM drops, like some bosses as well as Slayer drops. So I should have enough souls to be able to cast whatever, ash and bone conversion spells that I want to do to get that prayer XP rolling. And then from there, if I need more souls, what I would do is I'm actually already 77 Rootcraft on a second account. So my goal is to start posting him up at Bloods and do the whole grind again. Although I don't need to go to 95, I just need to get to 90 where I can start doing the soul runes. So that will be a good way to restock kind of on souls if I did for some reason run out. Here I gotta watch out because I'm below his max hit here. So there it is. You see that green bead looking projectile when you're below 41. Yep, and you have to tick eat it because otherwise that's risking him just KOing me. So actually out of prayer here, so I gotta kind of flick and ignore my ults at current time being. Oh, recoil broke, so you gotta make sure that you're also re-equipping the new recoil, and then I should be fine here. I can even throw on some extra mage prayer. Actually, I'm just going to conserve prayer as much as possible here because still quite a lot of health. Don't want to underestimate 100 HP left on the boss because the way he jumps around and whatnot, you're only able to attack him like a couple times in between his pop-ups. So definitely don't want to get caught out of food, out of prayer, because then you're just taking the mercy of his RNG and his max hit and whatnot. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up the kill here, or the video here with this kill. I will show the loot and then probably call it on the recording. Just wanted to give everyone that good old catch-up update, and no loot, but some scales, mahogany logs. The base loot here is great. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Make sure to drop a subscribe, like, and comment down below if you liked the video. I'll probably go into more detail about the different components I used on my PC build. It's currently still being built. Just using a new solid state drive that I bought and put into my old PC that crashed on me. So it is still an a usable PC at the time being, but it does still lag a lot. It still stutters the way that it always did, and it would just be excellent to have that fresh new upgrade, right? It's always good to just have a nice, fast working PC that can keep up with you and all your activities and whatnot. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I'm just going to keep killing Zulrah, hopefully get some more uniques by the time the next video rolls around, and we'll share with you then. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. No way. Oh my god. So right as I ended the recording, the next kill, I get an actual drop. I got the Magic Fang upgrade. No way. There it is. You can see it in the chat there. Oh my god. That was the best drop that I'm looking for. The Trident is probably the most useful damage output item at Zulrah, and I just got the big upgrade. So that plus the occult means I'll just have an insane amount of max hits now, easily getting multiple kills a trip, potentially even 3 in one trip. So we'll have to see, but that is just huge. I thought I just had to just throw in the recorder, get this little clip in. Gonna tag it into the end of the video, but oh my god, thank you for sticking around. If you made it this far, you got that little surprise at the end. So unfortunately I wasn't able to get it on the recording. I don't record 100% of my footage, but I was just doing some sample kills there, probably got like 6 or 7 KC, and then voila, as soon as I hit end recording to start uploading the video, I get the Magic Fang. I was just so hyped. So yeah, there it is. Trident of the Swamp. Already threw it on there. Boom. That is a beastly weapon, and that's gonna just improve my Zulrah kills in an insane amount. I was just talking about how I'm just kind of bridging that gap between getting 1 or 2 kill trips. If I can get 2 kills a trip, then I can fully sustain Zulrah tellies. So yeah, the gear just got massive. So thanks everyone again for tuning in. Leave a comment if you liked it, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you all in the next one.